All that rah-rah shit, fuck all of that blah-blah bullshit, yo. All for a pussy wool. Anytime I see it, me tear off him blood clot head. The only motherfucking reason he ain't dead now is called due to circumstances. I'm stuck where I'm at. But now, in another life, heaven, blood clot hell, anywhere I see that nigga, it's on.
It really hurt me when they killed Stan. Nobody knew who to shoot. We ain't even have a plan. He sold me my first gun. He held my first son. If I was with him shooting it out, bitch, we the one. I shed tears for my niggas who ain't here. They tattooed and spit that real shit to remember him. Bitch, I'm that dude. Catch a op and spit on his baby daughter. I'm that rude. Right at 3 o'clock as soon as he get her out of school. You killed my dude. I don't give a fuck about you. I hope somebody killed you in case I never.
Yo. Before I start this video, Saint asked me to say respect and rest in peace to Miguel, the man that made this suit for him, man. Say he made it 30 years ago and it's still fly and it's still fitting. He said that picture is New Year's Eve 2019, I believe, man. Shout out to Miguel, man. Rest up. And as always, respect.
What up, though, everybody? Welcome back to Up for Debate TV, man. Strap in, man. It's about to be a ride, dog. Because one thing I can say about Donovan Saint is it's a lot of passion, it's a lot of pain, it's a lot of common sense in our conversation, in his conversation. You know what I'm saying? And you can just tell when it's real. Like I tell niggas all the time, it's like listening to Scarface rap or Tupac rap. You just know when it's real. You can tell the difference. You know what I'm saying? Poe lined him up. And he bricked the shot, you know what I'm saying? He lived to tell the tale and everything. And because of that, and a bunch of different shit surrounding it, I mean, y'all heard the motherfucking clip in the beginning, man. You see how he feel? I really believe he feel like that ain't no cap. You know what I'm saying? On some real 100 shit. And we're gonna get to some things he said, because he dropped a lot of knowledge on me, you feel me, in regards to a bunch of different situations, but particularly in regards to the Domencio Benson documentary or whatnot, the whole saga, you feel me? So we're gonna break it down as best possible, you feel me? And I did this here, man. He told me Domencio Jr., the ghost Domencio that is, didn't know his father at all. He said Cindy used to tell him, Domencio ain't your father, Joe is your father. I don't know how true that is, but shit. Everybody tell me this man the truth. Saint, that is. You feel me? And if he said it, it must be law. You decide. And I dig this here. He said Domencio wasn't allowed to see his son but every few months. So he strung together bits and pieces of information he got from flunkies and wannabes. If he wanted the real information, he should have gotten in touch with Monk or himself. You feel me? Now I believe that. You know what I'm saying? I heard the nigga, what's that nigga name? Nitty was a professional dick rider. You know what I'm saying? On some real 100 shit. Man, it's mad shit out here about that kid. You feel me? But motherfucker straight jumped in there talking about he official. If Nitty said then it must be law and this and that and the other blase split. Well, Donovan Saint said he got his information from flunkies and wannabes, man. So if you niggas saying it's law and it must be, y'all niggas must have been flunkies and wannabes as well, dog. I mean, I'm just calling it like I see it. And I dig this here, man. He said if he wanted to know the real information, he should have reached out to himself or Monk, like I just told you. And he said if Monk wasn't, once he found out that Monk wasn't involved in the situation, he knew it was going to be some bullshit anyway. Because he said they knew how to get in contact with him from across the water. He been deported. In case you didn't know, he was deported. You feel me? I ain't going into the reason being, but he was, and it is what it is. He where he at. But they knew how to get in contact with me, and they didn't. You know what I'm saying? So, shit, he already knew the film was going to be whack in his eyes. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm hoping that I can get an interview with him in the future. I'm hoping I can get him to come to the channel. You know what I'm saying? I heard him and Mr. Monk, and that's another thing, man. One-armed Monk. Him and one-armed Monk is a constant in a lot of niggas' stories, dog. he a constant in a lot of niggas' stories from back when, and particularly this one, man. And I'd like to know how he feels about this shit. Everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping to get an interview with him. I'm hoping I can get him to step in front of the camera. You know what I'm saying? In a live interview, because like I said, Saint said that in the 50 Cent documentary, they played with his voice or cut him out of it and made him say some shit he wasn't supposed to say. Same thing's supposed to happen to One-Armed Monk. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping I can get them to do a live interview. That way they'll know there ain't no way I can play with your words. You know what I'm saying? We live in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no going back and swapping it out. Everybody gonna see what they saw. You feel me? So hopefully one of them gentlemen will grant me that request and we can get this interview thing popping. You feel me? He also says Monk got all them niggas money. He said him and a nigga named Brother, or him and his brother, got all them niggas money. He said Monk know every punk, every gangster, every jack boy, or anything else in the city. You feel me? Flat out. Them his words. You dig? Now he say Domencio Jr., the ghost Domencio that is, knew full well about Domencio's relationship with Homo Pop, but didn't want it to be associated with his father's legacy. So he left that part of it out. And again, if he wanted to know the ins and outs of his father's association with Homo Pop, he should have reached out to One-Armed Monk or himself. And he got the real information, you feel me? But since he didn't, and I did the investigating I did and brought it to the floor, that's what brought Mr. Saint to me. You feel me? And now he's entrusted me to give you guys the real deal about what went on. Let's just say that. You feel me? His account of events of what went on. You know what I'm saying? It's up to you whether you believe it or not, but I said it's a lot of passion and pain in this man's voice. So I don't take him to be a liar. You know what I mean? Now dig this here. What I want to say about this whole Homo Pop situation is a bunch of fuck niggas jumped in my comments, act like I was making some shit up. Like I was trying to throw smut on that man's name, throw dirt on that man's name for no apparent reason, just because they don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? You niggas don't know shit. You feel me? And it created a whole wave because you can simply pop in Domencio Benson in the Google search engine and it'll start popping up. Domencio bisexual, Domencio gay. So that whole shit, that whole wave was started here. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of you niggas is fuck niggas, is all I'm gonna say, nigga. You know what I'm saying? The ghost Domencio even jumped in my inbox on Instagram and shit. And you know when a nigga don't follow you or whatever, it asks you if you want to take the message, you can see the top of that shit. He said, I just got wind of your little video. That pissed me off. So I didn't take the message. I felt like if I took the message, it would change my energy toward the shit that I was doing, because I felt like I was as respectful as I could be in saying the shit that I was saying. You dig what I'm talking about? But I wasn't so respectful when I handled other individuals in regards to Alpo, if you dig where I'm coming from. But I just wanted to say that, man, before I got into this, because he asked me to clear this part of everything up. And I'm going to try to do that as best I can. I did. He said Mr. Benson ran numbers, and Homo Pop's father was a customer. Homo Pop and like 6 females was high-end boosters that hit high-level joints in uptown New York. And after they hit a lick, the first stop was Mr. Benson's yard. He was saying yard, so I take that to mean, you know, Mr. Benson's crib or whatnot, because I thought they stayed in an apartment. But either way it go, their first stop was Mr. Benson's shit. Say so Domencio will get the pick of the litter every time because their first stop would always be there. And that's how he got the flyest, dopest high-end shit before anybody else had it. Because Homo Pop was boosting the shit out of it and taking it there, you know what I'm saying, to get it off, or get some of it off at least. You feel me? Nah, he said, don't get it twisted about Homo Pop and that homosexual shit. He was punching niggas in the face because niggas wanted the shit he had, but he was standing on his. He said a lot of niggas ran with Pop. Kendu and a bunch of other niggas all bought clothes from Pop. He said Pop was dressing niggas like a mannequin. If you wanted to dress up for real, you went to Pop. The Homo Pop, that is, to get your shit right. Now, he said, I used to bring Homo Pop down to DC and put him in a hotel room with them bitches, and they'd go to work. He said Homo Pop was leaving like $100,000 worth of shit on his way back to New York. You feel me? He's adamant that Domencio is not gay. That was a business relationship. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I'm going to say about that is this. I've spoken to individuals that say the same thing. Domencio wasn't gay, Domencio wasn't gay, but nobody that could break it down to the bone gristle the way he just did as far as the relationship and how deep it goes back to where it started and this and that and the other, you feel me? Which give me a air of truth in what he's saying. Other people were unwilling to go that deep into it. They would just say, you know, he ain't and blah, 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 or he is even. A bunch of motherfuckers say, yeah, that nigga was gay, man. Them niggas was doing the thing. And blah, blah, blah. That's how he was getting a lot of the shit. That's why they went there first and blah, blah, blah with the whoop. Now, and then let me not leave this out. I had one individual tell me that Domencio went so far as to shoot a nigga that associated his name with homo pops in a homosexual manner, like tried to say some slick shit like they was doing something, and he wound up popping a nigga over that shit. And when the nigga told me that story, the shit that came to my mind was so with a down low homosexual. A down low nigga will pop a nigga for exposing them too. You know what I'm saying? To what? Save his image, his legacy, his family, and all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? So that ain't saying nothing to say nothing. It's just, you know, it's always a question. And I question everything. You know what I'm saying? Now, you take it for what you want. He adamant that he ain't gay. I can't say he is or he ain't. All I can tell you is what he say, man. And a lot of people, the general consensus, this the OG. You know what I'm saying? He know what he speaks. So, hey, you draw your own conclusion, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Now, he said anybody that said they was cool with 50 Cent got robbed by him. Any nigga that jumped up talking about him and 50 was cool and this and that and the other, 9 times out of 10 got robbed by him at one point in their life. You know what I'm saying? That was random, but it came up. He said he never liked Rome and Domencio and them niggas, but in DC, if something happened, the home team stuck together. Now, I never understood that home team sticking together shit if we didn't come together, you feel me? Because I heard a rumor that Domencio, after Alpo got shot the first time in DC, Domencio went nuts and popped some shit up. Started tearing shit up down there, you feel me? And that shit just seemed like a flat-out, bold-faced lie. Like, why the fuck would that nigga do that? He went to DC telling niggas not to fuck with Poe. What would we be shooting shit up for? You know what I'm saying? But Saints say, shit, nigga, that's how it was. If some shit went down, we got together and we handled that shit as a team. You know what I'm saying? A home team type shit. So that shit made it make a little sense to me. You know what I'm saying? He also said that Rome was the king of the jackals. He never, I didn't ask him why he didn't like these individuals. I just paid attention to what he was saying as I was supposed to. You know what I'm saying? The details. But he said Rome was the king of the jackals. He said he had like 30, 40 motherfuckers rush you and take your shit. If you was selling weed in the club or something, he said before crack hit, niggas started getting money that way. If you was selling a little weed in the club, he'd point you out and niggas would rush you and take your shit. He said when niggas got on, the artist or whatever got on with their little deals or Blase Splee came through the hood, they'll rush them and take their shit, rob them, take their jewelry, all type of shit. He just say that nigga was a jackal. You know what I'm saying? The king of the jackals, you feel me? But Domencio is the thing. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing I want to talk about. He said he never liked Domencio. That seemed crazy because he riding for Domencio. The whole conversations we had a few conversations. In those conversations, he riding for Domencio. He's genuinely fucked up by the whole situation. Domencio getting killed in the events surrounding it before and after. You know what I'm saying? Still told me he wrestling with this shit. What he in his words, he say, shit, yo, after that conversation we had, shit, that shit's giving me nightmares. It give me a dead chill. You feel me? Thinking about the shit we was discussing at the point. You feel me? He said that he never liked Domencio. And I'm going to make that make sense because Saint don't like women beaters. You know what I'm saying? And for all intents and purposes, he said Domencio was a woman beater. You know what I'm saying? And that's something he didn't tolerate. You feel me? A constant in our conversation the first time we spoke was the fact that he didn't respect men that hit women. And he went so far as to say, if you call yourself a solid individual and you putting your hands on a woman, I feel like I got the right to take your shit. You know what I'm saying? Real 100 shit. He say, he tell him the only reason you ain't dead is because dead men don't pay. So take the lick or whatever else come with it. You feel me? And that's real nigga shit. You know what I mean? Like I say, I stand on no women, no kids. You feel me? So I told him I respect that all the way. You feel me? I don't put my hands on women neither. And this is a nigga they say put niggas in ice baths. And I talked to him about it. They say he put niggas in bathtubs filled with ice. I ain't drawing no iron on a nigga and all that extra shit. He said he put a nigga in a bathtub full of ice, sit on the toilet and smoke his weed. He said once that ice hit a nigga the right way, he gonna tell you every fucking thing you need to know, dog. You feel me? So when I asked him about it, I said, man, how many bags of ice, what's the most bags of ice you ever had to use to get a nigga to talk? He said he never been over 20, but he don't remember having to go to 20 too many times. He said because it's already setting in their bones. You know what I'm saying? 10 bags at a time, shit. By the time we get to 20, it's a wrap. That, I told him too, that shit crazy. He said, no, that shit ain't crazy. I forget what he said it was, but yeah, that shit crazy, man. When I asked him about the hitting thing, though, why he took that stance, you feel me? Why he don't respect niggas that hit women and take their shit and this and that and the other. He said when he was a kid, about 13, I believe it was. What did he say? He said he was about 13 and he came home and his stepfather had beat his mother up pretty good. So he went and got a hammer and he split his shit open. You know what I'm saying? And he said, he told the nigga if you do that shit again, he was gonna kill him. You feel me? Keep his hands off his mama and everything else. Oddly enough, he said the nigga didn't listen, cause about 7 years later, he put his hands on the nigga mama again. He said he had just got out of jail like 7 years later, and the nigga did that shit again. He said he didn't kill him because he knew his mama wasn't gonna forgive him for that shit, but he shot him in his ass to teach him a lesson. Anyway, another thing too that came up, he said he was gonna blaze Mike Tyson ass. You feel me? He said he is the one that Mike Tyson gave the shovel to at Domencio's funeral and said, let's bury our man the right way. Let's bury our man together. That was him. You know what I'm saying? But he also said that he was gonna blaze Mike Tyson ass, what'd he say? Over breaking Sandra Brown's jaw on 44th Street. But he said, shit, Mike game was too heavy. He fed Brownsville. Was it Brownsville? Yeah, he said Mike game was too heavy. He fed the whole Brownsville. But he said he didn't give a fuck at the time because he felt like that was some whole shit and he was standing on his principle. You don't put your hands on a female, especially not no big ass Mike Tyson ass nigga. I don't know how big this Sandra Brown was, you know what I'm saying? But he broke her jaw, dog. You know what I mean? The thing, and that, like I say, that's the thing that I connected to the fact that he said he never liked Rome and Domencio and them, you feel me? Because he said if Domencio had 15 bitches and 11 of them had minks, those was the ones he beat up. He said Domencio had his way with women, he'd beat them up then buy them a mink. And that's why I think he said I never liked Domencio, because he put his hands on women. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. He said 15 of them bitches, if he got 15 bitches and 11 of them got minks, them the ones he beat up. That's crazy, man. He said there is no pussy about DC or the niggas, but they just don't know how to get money. They didn't know how to get money. He said only a select few, like Rayful and Frey, actually knew how to get down and get money down there without the extra shit. He said DC was full of jealous niggas too. They'd kill you over a bitch quick. So he ain't never fuck. He said he was a gentleman too. Any woman that he dealt with can tell you that. You know what I'm saying? And he always asked them if they had a man because he said DC niggas will kill you over a woman. He said them niggas was jealous. That's just the way he felt. You feel me? Now here we go. This shit gonna get interesting. Now he said Lou Hobbs was pussy. And Sean knew it. You feel me? He said, but Sean Branch is a liar and nobody robbed Domencio in DC, nor is he the reason they was hustling or able to hustle on Montana Terrace, Montana Ave. You feel me? And I've heard that a few different ways. You know what I'm saying? I heard it was a New York nigga that ran that shit, to be honest with y'all. And I know a bunch of niggas gonna say some bullshit, but I did, man. I just can't remember what his name is right now, dog. On some real 100 shit. I'm going live tomorrow, so ask me then. But I heard it was a New York nigga that ran that shit anyway. Sean Branch didn't run it. Saint said he was a fucking kid. He said, I remember Sean Branch, he was 14, 15. He said he thought he died in a car accident. He said he thought Lou Hobbs gave him his Wrangler. He had a Wrangler or something at the time. He gave him one of them young niggas and they never came back with it. He said he thought that nigga died in a car accident. You feel me? Shit crazy, man. Like I said, it's always deeper than the surface, and the streets know. They ain't all asleep. Somebody always know what's going on somewhere or in the past. You know what I'm saying? Now, what else did he say? He said, I know Lou as a punk that I tolerated. The last time I saw Lou, he was with Haitian Jack, Scooter, and Anthony Brown. And I said, why you ain't dead? Domencio trying to see you, homie. And that shit about to happen today. You know what I'm saying? Real 100 shit, these words out his mouth, you feel me? He said, I think it was because of Scooter. He said the dude Scooter told him, not today, homeboy, you know what I'm saying? Stall him out, basically, because when he was locked up, Lou Hobbs was sending his family money, making sure they were straight. So he basically, repaid the favor and stalled him out that day. And he said he stood on principle with his mans and let him live that day. But that's the only reason he's still alive to this day. You feel me? Moving on. And then, too, here's another thing, man. He still refuses, even though he was going to kill Lou Hobbs that day, he still refuses to believe that Lou Hobbs set him up. That's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? That's still strange to me, man. He said he can't force himself to believe that. Even though Lou Hobbs' story changed up 2 times. He said the first story Lou Hobbs gave him was that he went in the store and came out and that shit happened to Domencio. The second time, it was the park and this and that and the other blase split. You know what I'm saying? This story changed up. But he said he still can't force himself to believe that he set him up or had something to do with his murder. That shit's strange to me. It's just strange. You know what I'm saying? You see where I'm at, man. I got a few more pages for y'all. Stick with me, man. I told you it was going to be a ride, man. This shit like a movie, man. I should have wrote a little 28-page book about this shit and gave it to y'all. Don't put it on Kindle. You feel me, nigga? But no, he said he does acknowledge the fact that Lou Hobbs got Domencio killed, and this was interesting, man. And when I asked him about it and why he was saying it like that, because I've talked to a few different people that said Lou Hobbs got him killed. Lou Hobbs got him killed, but they not saying he set him up. When I asked him, you think he set him up? They be like, no. But why you saying that he got him killed? And he broke it down to the bone gristle. But at the same time, I had heard it before. I told him it echoed some things that I heard before. You feel me? He said he remembers distinctly Lou saying, what you need your gun for? Why you got your gun? My name Lou. You don't need no gun with me. Trying to get niggas to leave their pistols in the car, or telling niggas to leave their pistols at home, or whatever the case may be. And he said that Domencio don't sleep. Domencio should have died with his gun in his waist at least, because he ain't the type that sleep like that. It had to be that nigga telling him, you don't need your gun, you with me. You straight, my name Lou, this and that and the other, you feel me? And that shit echoed some shit that I heard from a few different directions. So it must be some truth or some validity to that. And even with that being said, man, that shit just make it seem even more strange to me. You feel me? For nobody to want to say they feel like this and that and the other, but for everybody to say that Lou got him killed. That shit interesting, man. He also said that, like I said, Lou pussy, and if he was with anybody else but Lou Hobbs, he'd probably be alive to this day. Sean Branch would have seen the play and probably whipped out and did what he do. You know what I'm saying? If he was there, any of the other niggas in the crew. But he was with who he with. He was with, you know what I'm saying? Now, Donovan Saint says the only thing fishy to him about that whole Lou shit is the fact that him and Alpo was fucking these sisters named Karen and Kim. You feel me? Lou was fucking the younger one and Alpo was fucking the older one. You know what I'm saying? So he said that's the only thing that made him look at the situation like he could have possibly had something to do with it, but he still refused to say that. You know what I'm saying? Now, in regards to Domencio and shit, he says he was locked up for a minute. And when he got out, the first thing he did was talk to Domencio. The first day he got out, he talked to Domencio. And within that week, within a few days, he heard Domencio was killed or whatnot. And that shit ran deep for him because he said he slept in Domencio. He the last nigga that slept in Domencio bed. He said once he heard he was dead, he slept in that nigga yard. And like I said, he be saying yard, I guess that means he went to his house. You know what I'm saying? And he stayed there into the funeral and everything. You feel me? He said he slept in his bed and everything else. You feel me? And that's real 100 shit. Nah. He said, that shitbag Alpo called the house phone and he spoke to me. He was very convincing. He said, Alpo called the house and said, yo, Saint, I know you just got out. I'm going to send you some money to get him buried right. And he said he didn't know what happened at that time. So I guess he was like, all right, you feel me, this and that and the other. But he said at the funeral, females started losing it and saying wild shit like he loved me, he bought me a mink. And he said other females lost and shit like talking about y'all know Alpo did it, y'all know Alpo did this, and blase split. He said he was trying to basically calm everything down, you feel me, at the funeral, but paying attention at the same time. Now, a couple of women that was at that funeral wound up dead. One of them being Yolanda Burley, who rolled back to DC with Donovan Saint. Now, I thought that was interesting too. You feel me? Because I asked him, do you think he tried to take your head? Because he said women was losing it, talking about Alpo did it, you know Alpo did it, and Yolanda Burley was a victim. So I asked him, did he think Poe took a shot at him, lined him up? Because Yolanda Burley said that he did it and this and that and the other, and put on. He said, man, that nigga lined me up because he knew when I found out he did it, I was the one that'd take his head off. I was the one that'd come directly at his head. I asked him if he was afraid of Wayne Perry. I said, you the one at his head even though Wayne Perry was with him? He said, absolutely. Absolutely. Don't get it fucked up. He told me just like that. Absolutely, I'd have went at Wayne Perry. He said I'd have picked them niggas off one by one and told the rest of them niggas, get the fuck out the way or lay with him. If you defending him, you lay with him. You know what I'm saying? And he said that is his attitude to this day. If he could reach him, he would fuck him over. And anybody that stood with him, he'd fuck them over too. And he said he wouldn't have a heavy heart about doing it. You know what I'm saying? He said he'd still have a pure heart. He'd still feel good because of the situation that happened, basically. And fuck, at the end of the day, a nigga tried to kill him. Nigga lined him up. You know what I'm saying? I told you niggas, beef don't die. That shit only gets sicker and sicker and sicker until it festers and manifests itself inside an individual. He said that it's niggas that feel the same way he do in the streets, around where he riding at. He said he can't rape Harlem right now because they letting him ride around like that, but he know for a fucking fact that he got respect for DC because there's no way he'd be riding bikes through the city of DC or through the state or wherever, through DC like that, period. You know what I'm saying? But he said it take for a nigga to just be and said, I done had enough of this shit. It's time to put that shit to rest. He doing too much. And this, like I said, it was a deep conversation. We had a deep conversation. You know what I'm saying? But he says, after he took old girl back to DC, Yolanda Burley, after the funeral or whatnot, he says he was with a youngin' he schooled in lockup that he saw had some sense. And, you know, became friends with, I guess, and whatnot. His name was KC. He said, back then they was hiding the guns under the engines and shit, so they stashed the gun under the engine and went to the chapter 3. He said when they got to the chapter 3, a nigga started following him around talking about you killed my Uncle Frey. That's fucked up, you got my Uncle Frey killed. He says he told him, I just buried my brother and I just got out, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. You know what I'm saying? And from that point on, he said he just felt like shit was off. You know what I'm saying? From that point on in the club, so he told KC to give me your pager. And go dig the gun out and page me when you ready. You know what I'm saying? When you done or whatnot. He said he also felt like everybody in that club that night knew he was the nigga that was supposed to die. He said that was the way shit was back then. He said he felt like everybody in there knew they was going, he was supposed to die that night. They was going to kill him. You know what I'm saying? So the guy still following him around in the club talking about my Uncle Frey and what you did to my uncle. You killed my uncle. That was my uncle. You did that shit too. Shit like that. When the pager go off with his code in it. Now, mind you, that's KC pager, his homeboy. He told him to give him his pager. He said, but his code in it. So he called this shit back. And he say, Alpo, KC told him Alpo outside. And he want to talk to you. So he said, okay, put the gun on the seat and put your shirt over it. I'm coming out. But then dig this, man. He say KC started crying and said, you don't understand what's happening, man. He got like 15, 20 guys out here with him. He said, at that point, everything registered in his head what was going on with him at that exact time. He felt like Jason Bourne because he just wasn't about to die that night. You know what I'm saying? He said he never felt like he was about to die that night. The only thing he felt like was he got to make it out of this situation. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing going on. He said, he told me, pussies, idiots, and something else panic. You know what I'm saying? Real niggas don't panic and shit. They handle it. You feel me? He said he handled that situation or whatnot. So getting back to it, he said, there was always cops outside in front of the chapter 3. And he didn't think they'd kill him in front of the cops. So he wound up walking outside. Now he said, as he walked outside, a bunch of cars and motorcycles just starting up. Vroom, vroom. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, what they were starting the cars for? He said, because they had to follow me. They wasn't going to kill me in front of the cops. So they getting ready to follow me away from this motherfucker. Now, mind you, he tell me the nigga that's talking that freight shit still following him around too. You know what I'm saying? So he said he go back in the club and he get a bouncer a couple dollars or whatnot to open the back door for him. Then he gave I think he said a waitress or a female he knew like $200 to keep old boy company. And he said as soon as he engaged in conversation with old girl, he went for the back door, but it was dudes walking in the back. He said it was a couple dudes walking in the back of the motherfucking alley or the back of the chapter 3, however it go. You know what I'm saying? If you familiar, you already know. He said he waited till he got clear, basically like 20 more minutes till the niggas cleared out or walked somewhere else, and he ran and jumped the fence. I believe he told me he jumped the fence and wound up in a garbage can. I don't know. Disregard, but I know he told me he jumped the fence. You feel me? He said he don't know how he made it out of there, dog. You know what I'm saying? Now, another thing he told me was his money wasn't right to go to war at the time. So he went to Baltimore because he heard Alpo had a ticket on his head. You know what I'm saying? Now, he said it took him about 4 or 5 months to get himself together in Baltimore to get ready to do the recon and get the resources he needed in order to take Poe and them niggas on and whatnot. You feel me? He said he came back a few times and he noticed that other people were stalking Poe too. He said he came back to get him a few times. He followed him and the whole nine, did his recon and everything, but he noticed other people was on Poe too. You feel me? And at first, I thought he was talking about other wolves. You feel me? Because a lot of niggas was gunning for Poe when he was in D.C., but I believe he was talking about the police based on conversation we had after the fact. You know what I'm saying? He said he knew he was going to jail before anybody else, and he don't know how Poe didn't know they was watching him. You feel me? Because as he was watching him, he was watching the police too. Watch him. Watch Poe. You feel me? So that plays a major role, he says, in the fact, in why Poe didn't get harmed for doing that to him. He said he even went to Chinatown and got did up and had his homeboy push him in a wheelchair with a big ass gun on his lap. And he was gonna roll up on him and do his ass. But he said in every situation when he went to get him, he just noticed other people stalking him. He said in 2 months, about 2 or 3 months later after he got on him, he wound up getting knocked and telling on everybody. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I said, I don't know how you're going to feel about the information that's in front of your face. But shit, it damn sure is what it is, man. And shout out to Donovan for speaking out, you know what I'm saying? And telling the truth and reaching out to me. You feel me? Telling his truth, not the truth. Telling his truth, you feel me? And reaching out to the boy, you feel me? And letting me do the thing, man. At the end of the day, man, like I say, it's all in what you believe, who you believe, you know what I'm saying? If you don't know who Donovan is, do your research, man. What's his name? Sean Branch spoke on in the Gully TV joint, you feel me? He said Jackie Rose, his sister, she everything they say she is. She the truth. He said it ain't his real sister, but he got 40 plus years of relationship with her. That's his sister. She the truth. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about this tomorrow, man. Get with me, man. My voice cracking up and shit, getting drama. Getting ready to get out of here, dog. You feel me? But Donovan speaks, man. And At the end of the day, he wanted me to say, you feel me, rest up to Domencio. He wanted me to make sure I said that, so I'm going to say that. Rest up to Domencio, you know what I'm saying? The beat goes on. Ozone O, up for debate TV. And you already know who it is, my baby. When you see what you see, nigga. God bless the real